Hello everyone, this is Money Mom. Welcome to the channel. This is the last video in the series of talking about different generations. I'm going to get right into it. This was an unplanned video, and the reason why I'm doing it is some of you told me about a generation, and this is kind of new that people since the 90s, there's a gentleman that brought this up talking about this, that there's a generation called Generation Jones, because many of us don't feel like we fit in with the boomers, and we don't feel like we fit in with Generation X. I was born in March of '65. Half of my classmates are boomers, half of them are Generation X. Now, the other generation that is sandwiched in between the boomers and Generation X is called Generation Jones. Born between 54 to 65. I feel like when I tell you about some of these things, it describes me perfectly. Because I've got a lot of friends that are boomers, I've got a lot of friends that are Gen Xers, and I don't feel like I can relate to either side, but I really feel like I can relate to this. Now, baby boomers, a lot of them, were Woodstock. A lot of their fathers were in World War II. My father was not even in Korea. He actually was in between Korea and also Vietnam, okay? And he got married in 1960. So I was born in 65. As you can see, I kind of don't fit into that. Now, there are many folks that were baby boomers that never even had a television. Most of the people from Generation Jones, we had televisions. It's basically, Generation Jones is about 25% of the population. Now, the beginning of that, like 65, because I remember being raised to early 70s, from what I remember, my own personal experience, the economy was pretty good. Economic boom, things were going well. A lot of people had really good jobs until the late 70s. That's when my dad started getting laid off. He was a truck driver, okay? A teamster. A lot of the pensions were going away, things like that. So, yes, we did experience some of the economic boom, but all of a sudden the economy started tanking, and also there was that oil crisis, and also, Watergate, Nixon, all of these types of things. The economy started kind of, not doing so well. High interest rates. I remember when my parents bought one of our homes, the interest rate was 17%, okay? I remember that. That was quite expensive. And also starting towards that, when I graduated high school in '83, the economy definitely wasn't that good. And then I graduated college in '87, and then I did an internship, so really '88. And, there weren't as many jobs out there. I remember when I moved to Dallas, Texas, they had some kind of oil crisis. And because of that, all the apartments were dirt cheap. One of my friends, and this is in 1988, was living in an apartment that it was an efficiency, and it was $199 a month in 1988. I moved into a one-bedroom, 582 square foot apartment. There were tons of vacant apartments. Now, this is in Dallas, okay? Tons of them. It was 582 square foot. It had a stackable washer dryer. It was called Regency Condos. It's now been renamed and sold, but it was $300 a month. Now, within a few years, the economy started getting better again going into the 90s, but during some of the late 70s and 80s, from my experience, I just remember things were really sluggish. A lot of college grads were having trouble finding jobs, depending what field, and so we went through this. I noticed another thing. My parents always told me, don't question things, just accept it, mind your business, stay in your own lane, and I think there's a lot of wisdom to that, but my parents did not want me asking any questions about anything. They just wanted me to accept things. I drove my parents and other people around me insane because I asked tons of questions. Well, why this? Well, why that? I wanted to know about everything and about all different kind of topics that you weren't supposed to ask questions about. I'll say that. So this generation can be kind of cynical a little bit. We saw the rising cost in healthcare, goodbye to the pensions. Also, education started going up. So the 80s. Now the 90s, I kind of feel like we're a lot better. Then I could almost do a video just on the 1990s because I got married in the early 90s. And you know what? Sometimes I want to say, let's go back to the early 90s. Let's go back to the 90s. Can I get a hello? So this is just a little bit, but many of the folks from Generation Jones kind of feel like in some ways they don't fit in. But a lot of people I know from this generation are some of the hardest working folks you'll ever know. They'll pivot whenever they need to. They make decisions when about anything. So they've got a good heads on their shoulder, hardworking, but they also like to live life on their own terms too. So let me know if any of you fit in with this group. Do you have anything else to add? Next week, I'm going to chat with you on Monday all about a really good money-making idea I have. I'll talk to you guys later and see you on tomorrow's video. Love you. Bye.